Hi, everybody. We are here today with Lucy and Doug from the housing teams at Hasto. Um, Lucy and Doug, can you just introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about what you and your teams do?
Ladies
Right.
first.
Okay, right. I'm Lucy Harris. I'm the housing team leader in the West Country. I currently have 4 housing officers, and we basically come from Cornwall right up as far as East Grinstead. So quite a big patch, but 4 housing officers manage that area.
And I'm Doug. I'm Lucy's equivalent in the East. So I manage 5 housing officers over here at the moment. The area I roughly cover are Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, Milton Keynes, Stevenage, Luton, that sort of area. Got another equivalent who also covers the kind of the more southern part of the East as well.
Great. And can you both just sort of talk us through a bit about what our housing officers do and actually how they can support our residents?
Our housing officers do wonderful things to support our residents, to be honest. We obviously don't talk about it and shout about it maybe as much as we should do, but on a day-to-day basis, they're out there kind of dealing with our customers on our estates who've got queries around our estates and the disturbances that they're having, dealing with the antisocial behaviour that our residents unfortunately kind of do have to kind of put up with them in certain circumstances. So they're often out there supporting them, talking through action plans, kind of taking action against tenancies where it's needed, and obviously supporting them around their rent arrears. If they've fallen into arrears with us, making payment plans, looking at how, kind of getting them to support, getting them the right sort of intervention at the right time to kind of help them to get them back into a positive place with their rent account at the same time.
I mean, the housing officer role is generic. So that means that we deal with all aspects of their tenancy. So like Doug has just mentioned, that can be antisocial behaviour. They're experiencing antisocial behaviour. We can try and resolve that working with other agencies. With rent arrears, we're in the business of prevention, really. But however, sometimes we do have to go down the route of the legal route of taking to court, but we try to make that as easy and as sympathetic. There's a lot of empathy involved in trying to resolve issues before we get to that stage. So a housing officer is there to support the resident in that respect. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's about kind of sustaining a tenancy for customers. That's the key, because obviously the housing officer is the first point of contact when they first, meet Hasto. It's the first person they meet after they've been nominated to us for a property of some description, and then they'll go through the home visit and all that process of the allocation, signing up to a property, and that's kind of the start of their journey with their housing officer and where they're going to go with it.
I mean, in an ideal world, we'd love to be visiting all of our new potential new tenants, but we're living in the world post-COVID that we are doing a lot of that remotely. But that first point of contact, Doug's quite right, is very important. You form your relationships from that point, and I think applicants remember that first call, that first contact. So I always try to make people feel at ease, and so that they can come back to us and talk to us. And it's that line of communication. We just need to make sure that we're having that line of communication right from the beginning.
And presumably, I mean, if it's something, if say I was a resident, if I approached my housing officer for something that they couldn't necessarily help with, they could potentially signpost to somewhere which might be able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we get involved a lot of the time in repairs, and ultimately our goal is to help people. We can't log repair calls, and we can't, we're not hands-on with the toolbox, but we do like to make sure that residents are going down the quickest route for them, because a lot of people, residents, don't realise that the portal is the quickest route to go down, because if you report your repair through the portal, a lot of the time that goes straight to our contractor, and then you'll get an appointment. So that is really the quickest route, and we would always promote the portal, not just for repairs but also for accessing your rent accounts. All aspects of your tenancy you can access either through the portal or our website.
Yeah, it's also a really good way of being able to communicate with us, the portal, because you can do that, customer could do that 24 hours a day. Obviously as housing officers, we're not here 24/7. We like to say we're 9 till 5, but that's not always the case, because things do take us out of that period of time. But so they could always contact us and communicate with us that way, and we can keep those lines of communication open, which is really important. And the important thing, like Lucy said about repairs, doing it that way is also, housing officers often end up getting roped into it, but they can't book those appointments, and they can't give you the time for when they don't have access to the customer's diary to book that. So it's always more difficult, because then there's more layers of communication to go through, which is then causes problems for the customer as well, because it's not as quick and prompt.
Yeah.
So actually that's sort of the most convenient way, really, is actually via the portal. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And if as a resident I wanted to find out who my housing officer was, if I wasn't sure, where's the best place for me to look?
It's the portal again on our website. On our website, we've got a little function that'll tell you who's your housing officer, so you can have a quick look on there to see who it is that you need to make contact with, and go from there.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Lucy and Doug. It's been very helpful, and we'll speak to you soon.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.